Morning, sir. So you're not audible.
Shall we start or will take time?
Yes, we can start. Just a minute. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to the day 5 of the International Faculty Development Program on Research Tools. The topic for the day is Matplotlib for research, and we have sought out the right speaker for this session. Dr. M. Subaya, data science practitioner for Wrapper of Digital Commerce. Dr. Subaya is a data scientist, a professional educator, mentor, and a coach. He's an academic and industrial trainer and consultant on Bayesian and classical statistics. He has also published 25 research articles, authored a book on random processes, and developed 4 R packages. He is also the data coordinator, TN Directorate of Collegiate Education. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, sir. We feel extremely honored to have you in this forum with us. The session is yours, sir.
Thank you for this introduction. I just have some difficulty in finding out the sharing my screen. Um, anyone navigate me? Where should I find to share my screen?
Sir,
Ah,
in the tab where you mute and unmute, there's a share button.
yeah, there is a three dot horizontal dot.
Yes, sir. If you click that, you may find the share button.
Mm, edit, move, don't mirror my video, camera settings, self view location. I couldn't find to
No, sir.
share my. Ah,
The meeting screen.
done?
The screen where you enter the meeting. The screen where you change the mute and unmute section. That screen, you would find the share button.
No, in the right corner, I find the mute unmute icon. Then there is one more icon is available. More for more, which
Sir, could you maximize the screen, WebEx screen, if you don't have it maximized? Find it on the lower tab, sir. The
yeah,
blue
I
color
find
button.
that's what I'm searching. Have that more option. It has five options: move to stage, edit display name, don't mirror my video, camera setting, self view location. That's it.
1 minute,
That's what
sir.
I find
I just
difficulty.
show you the screen which
Okay,
I
okay.
have.
I found out. Found out. It is in the bottom. Sorry.
Yeah. If you click that, you can check for Windows.
Yes, yes. I think I got it. Okay. Good morning, all of you, and sorry for some trouble in my starting my sharing the screen. Whether the screen is visible to all of you, any one of you, please.
Yes, sir. The screen is visible. Sir, could you try changing the slides?
Try to.
Change the slide to the next one. See if it's working.
Yeah, yeah. That's what.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it okay?
It's working. Yes, sir.
Right. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you for having that introduction and have some patience to tolerate my inability to connect with this application WebEx. Anyway, that's anything is to learn. Fine. So the let me go to that agenda straight away to this screen with the Matplotlib is taken from its typical logo. And my intention about visualization are these kind of tools, as the title or the theme of this FDP altogether. It connects you with the tools. So basically, uh, uh, tool can be used only when we know what is the purpose and how to use it. Then what can be enhanced. So tool is just a helping hand to achieve whatever we would like to do. So objective is more and more important always. Therefore, it may look like I am slightly deviating from the whole theme as such, but straight away tool cannot be landed on. And start from typical assumption for this 1 hour session, understanding the paucity of time, because we cannot do an extensive array of options available in Matplotlib or any tool for that matter. Therefore, I have made two things in the screen. One is the broader generic term called data visualization. So this tool is mainly for visualizing data. Data today is a very, very broad term. It is not like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. So I would like to specify, confined to one type of data, which is going to be rectangular data. So the whole session is basically aiming this particular part. Uh, Beyond that, there would be a lot of other data formats today, data sources, and objectives are very much wider today. Therefore, it's going to be an introduction to this tool based on some topics altogether, what I call it as concept. So, as far as data science is concerned, whatever the extent you may define on your own the word data science from an academic point of view, from a researcher point of view, from teaching, from industrial applications, etc. It has so many facets for the particular term data science. It is not a single word, or it won't relate to a single concept. It is a very broad term today. Of course, it has a science. So obviously, we have rules, set of ideas which you are going to follow very much strictly. However, this visualization is beyond science. It has an articulation also. So I just to make two things here initially, or quickly even, both on managerial aspect, because we need to know where it starts and then how we proceed. Why do I need a tool called Matplotlib or cousins of that, or varieties of that? Take any tool for that. Sorry, any software for that matter. So this is the managerial aspect of data science as such. Of course, for research also. So problem we need to identify, and to the implementation part. Of course, these two are largely on a managerial aspect. Today, this particular session is not confined to that, or we don't do anything on that. Assuming there is a problem, that's it. So data in collection, that's also a huge cost effective, time effective. There is huge effort should be put on that. So that is a different game. Assuming we have some data analysis, that's the third part, which is also very, very important, because it's a very broad term again: quantitative, qualitative, algorithmic, black box, white box, etc., etc. And then interpretation. So how we are going by the science of it. Interpretation is purely science. So how that number appears to you, that way that rule will drive to interpret and implement. Yes, of course, it is going to be the art of managerial art, to do now or not, later or not, collective thoughts, so on and so forth. So this is something we have to coin from principles of management long ago for many problems. Okay, particularly for quantitative techniques and what you call it as data science today, we can't escape from this kind of beautifully coined five aspects of any managerial problem, okay, project management or whatever it is. So here we borrow from that. Then it comes to the technical part. I take only the two things which I emphasize here: data and information collection and analysis. So while we collect data, we are quite important, we have to consider some important aspect like source, quality, quantity, type, and issues, as well as some remedies we have. I'm not going to take too much on that, but you must be very aware of all those things, because when you start a research problem, obviously you may have an idea whether we need a data of what form and what quality. Of course, quality is uncompromised 100%, but still, practically, it may not be possible sometime. We have to, compromise on that. But how much we compromise without affecting our whole exercise, not much deviating from our problem, as well as the data should be useful. And then quantity, that is also very much important. Today, we may be, or if you look around us, people are talking about big data, AI, etc. Is the quantity we are talking about, even for big data or even for applications like GPTs. What are the pros and cons when we talk about quantity of data? Probably all of you come from technical background. You may have heard that issues or remedies people are working on to implement GPTs when it goes on a huge volume, terabyte. I'm sorry, some 1 million, billion, trillion data points, right? So when that kind of quantity is increasing, the complexity is also taken into care. So the tools are, whether why I am telling all this thing is, you must be aware that whether the tool, whatever I'm trying to learn or trying to apply, implement, etc., would handle this kind of aspect. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Okay, so every tool has its merits and demerits or limitations, so you have to be careful. Then data type, obviously. So I told already, we are going to have a structured data. After that, we'll have a very stringent or a confined form of data types. Okay, then issues and remedies comes under, today the incorporate term, it is data engineering. So I don't talk much about that, but it is basically come from a different route. Okay, so anyway, these are all the things normally we try to understand how best we are clear with that. So all these things I am trying to give a quick understanding why we need a visualization. Finally, analysis. That's the point. I'm not talking about much on descriptive, sorry, interpretation or implementation. Interpretation, maybe if you need, I may touch in the last few minutes. Or one more thing I would like to say before I should have told you before I started. If you have any doubt or anything, you please stop me, don't hesitate. That is a better way. Otherwise, we can have, if there is a need, we can have a question session. So at that time, interpretation we can talk about, because it comes from something else. So when we talk about analysis, purely analysis for this kind of data, we have four major points. And of course, I have made three, but it is inclusive of one more that is called interpretative. But I made it as white box, so it is completely under that. So all these things require visualization. That's what my point. Whether you have any kind of data, any kind of model you try to do for the data science, there must be, or there will be, an integrated visualization essential, or a need, I could say, because you have to that's the final point of any analysis. I don't distinguish whether you are a researcher, you are an academic, or you are working in a corporate or on a data science project. There is no differentiating factor here based on you, that kind of definition. Rather, all of us have one common agenda for us. That's nothing but storytelling. Of course, storytelling is the essential output of your efforts from the problem identification to implementation. Unless we have a very clear, comprehensive, and a well articulated storytelling effort, there is no point in making any analysis. The storytelling effort will be very much different. Being a researcher, academic researcher, or corporate, I mean, industrial researcher, storytelling is different. Of course, you are exposed to so many generative AI tools which could write on its own the reports, etc. In that sense, in this age, in 2023, July, this session may not be so much essential for generative AI savvy. If you are a person, oh, I can do anything on my generative AI tools, then learning this Matplotlib, what you can do, I don't understand. Okay, because I'm very keen on the contemporary audience today in July to 2023. From January 2023 to this date, we have seen a lot of changes in the platform. People are so much behind generative AI, and that essential tool, be it a literature survey, or writing a report, or writing a scientific report, or even writing the papers, etc., etc. I don't say anything from my personal opinion on all those tools, but you are exposed to that. Even this FDP has a complete or maximum array of tools which are all covering this area. In that light of tool based learning, what we can do with the Matplotlib, that's a question. That's why I'm bringing from this particular part. Matplotlib, of course, it gives you an idea to plot it, but it won't give anything to storytelling effort. Whether your other tool, I don't know. In fact, you may have an exposure, your generation may have an exposure, but I am not doing it because I want to articulate my storytelling, my own words. This is my confinement. So I'm not denying, or I'm not against any such automatic generative tools. Okay, absolutely not. But what I will do, because I am depending on my own way of articulation, because storytelling is my selling point. If I'm not able to speak with my analysis, if I'm not able to present it in the right way to the right audience so that they are able to pick it up, your analysis is no longer needed. In fact, for end point is storytelling. That requires articulation. If you are, sorry, if someone is believing on someone's idea of generative things, well, absolutely no problem. Okay, so this is the thing I want to stop, because contemporarily now today we are equipped with such and such tools, no doubt in it. You cannot deny it, because if you ask me, I started very old software like of course, SPS is still alive, I shouldn't say, but the format I'm telling you, versions I'm telling you, SaaS or proprietary tools, many things, right? Systat, so many. Then comes the era of open source, where we are talking about now with R or Python or Julia or whatever maybe. So today we are enjoying all those kind of open source for about easily 13 years. And all those tools never ever change in their presentation layout. Only the syntax, only the way they are working, scaling. To I think most of you may be computer science engineers, so you know what I mean by scale and how to handle the quantity of data, quality of data, variety of data in a more and more production level codes. In that way, this software will differ, but none of them differ from the science. It can't be, of course. So finally, the technical aspect in that model, you need both storytelling with the numerical and visual. So we are into this visual tool, and Matplotlib is one such tool. It's not the completed tool, it is one such tool. Please understand, because there are lot of cousins from Python family itself, or you go to Julia, it may different, but the code may different, or that the syntax may be different, but the presentation wouldn't be different. It can't be different, because it's a science, it's a rule. So that rule, I'm trying to put it in this new bottle with the same good old wine. Okay, absolutely, there is no change. Most of the people, all of you would have so many times have observed these kind of things. What are the three different type of data? Of course, the fourth one is there. Today, I have not included. That is a time and date. Everybody knows from the Right. So this is the thing I'm going to follow for the quick example. Also, I have that for metric or numeric. The terms might differ from platform to platform. Please accept, understand, and then convince that metric and count variable categorical, or you have factor, whatever the term. Okay, sometime it may be objects, anything. So Python it may be different, or I'm taking it from a typical utility. Okay, so finally I'll complete my PPT and go to the data immediately. This is my way of articulation. So I have a data visualization with the basic. I mean, you start somewhere. Okay, I do my basic plotting. Then comes under the enhancement in three different ways. Remember, this is not a theory. This is just what I articulate. Okay, in what way a visualization tool can be any visualization tool for that matter. So deliberately I take allow me that at least 30 minutes I'll be talking about this general context, because Matplotlib is very quick enough. So it's not to spend time, it is the way I would like to start for that, because this gives a general template. Okay, so any tool for that matter you can fit in. So how do I enhance? There are only three aspects: in a context way, or in an aesthetic way, and then informative information or informative way. Okay, so aesthetics is what I call. I am very weak in that, so I take the help from psychologists rather sometime for color palette, and which color would be much better, where to place. Should we place the legend in the right hand corner or in the bottom? All these things comes with that psychological, reading from our brain, human brain. So how our mind even, so how it reads. So aesthetic is a very very lateral thinking area. Therefore, it is a team effort. If you are good enough in aesthetics, oh, this color goes well with this and that. If even this particular slide is so complicated in color, I don't know. This is my way of doing coloring. Okay, so that way, that's the way we are. Therefore, that is a CSS concept: color, shape, size, and then orientation. Whether you have horizontal or you have a vertical, etc. So this is just like an UI UX presentation kind of stuff, look and feel. Therefore, any tool, if for that matter, they will work some one or the other way of handling this three aspect context. That means data transformation. We need to transform certain data. Okay, that is purely context based. Simple transformation everybody may know is log transformation. Why do we know? Why do we do log transformation? I don't go into that detail, but log transformation is needed sometime. Sometimes we need to take only a partial set of data, that's we call it a subset. Sometimes we need to change dimensions, maybe a height may be given in kilogram, but I want to do it in pounds. So that kind of data change you have to do, and then context wise you have to do it in the visual tools also. So there is a lot of things to learn about context, which deviates from our today's session within 1 hour, but we need to focus on that. Finally comes the information part, where we need to do a titling, proper title label, because after all it's storytelling. Therefore you need to have title, subtitle, captions, label, axis, tick mark, angle, etc., etc. Again, a big array of large array of tools we need to do with any tool for that matter. All these things are absolutely generic, please understand. Okay, I take this opportunity to give you a generic view, then particularly on that Matplotlib, what it does. Matplotlib cannot do on its own, or it cannot have its own theory. It has a gallery, it has a wide spread of tools, obviously, but it is also one among the tools in the particular strictly laid down science of visualization. No doubt in it. So our part, but that is beyond my scope as well as this FDP 1 hour session. Therefore, I don't go into that. But beautiful things. Every tool provide you the color palette, color scheme, different colors, etc., to make your storytelling more and more practical, more and more interesting. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation, and that is the generic thing. I at another time I admit myself. So I'll go to the code straight away after 30 minutes. So if you have anything to talk about, you can ask now, or I'll tell you the platform in which I'm going to share the data. This is a Jupyter notebook only. You can run it anywhere. Anyway, I'm running it in Google Colab to save some better, resource from my own computer. Right, fine. I have a data, and yes. So quickly we take another 2 minutes time we have so that I can take your data set, what I take from freely available resources. This is the data, absenteeism at work, a typical rectangular data of 21 variables, and then we have count of 740 observations. Okay, a typical rectangular data, much cleaned, perfect. So the issues and remedies are no more considered in this area. I don't have any missing value or imputations, blah blah blah. So a perfect rectangular data I have. Then immediately I read what is the data is all about. I have an identification mark, data, I mean individual row wise identification, then reasons for absence. The problem is self-explanatory. I believe the data is absenteeism at work. Therefore, it gives you the variety of absenteeism, reasons for absenteeism, etc., etc. That's an important aspect for an HR analytics or any organization for that matter. So, for that, it may be an organization data because they have all these details well crafted from HR department. So it's a perfect, not legacy. It may be a perfect organization data. So if you take my point on data collection, the source is very direct because it's an organization data. Therefore, cleaning may not be so much important, but sometimes you have to have that aspect. Anyway, this session we are not going to discuss. But anyway, I have a detail for every attribute. Reason for absence. There are around 21 categories decided by, I mean, declared by International Code of Diseases, and these are all the 21 items. Apart from the 21 items, there are seven such categories given by this. So this is the perfect clean data. Okay, so if you take that reason for info, Excel is a very handy tool to read all those things. So from 0 to 28 we have, right? So 28 is the list, and that's where they have given. Then month of absence, which month, and that is not given by the name, rather it is by the number. So minimum 0 and maximum 12. And then the day of the week, Monday, 2, 3, 4, etc. Season, transportation expense, amount, distance from residence, service time, age, work, height, and disciplinary failure, yes or no. So this is our target variable altogether. Therefore, this structured data is the nice one which we can take it as for illustration. Okay, and these are all the variables. Then I made some more thing identifier because ID doesn't do anything. It is just an identifier, and reasons for absence is a factor because which number it refers to, what kind of reason it is, and month is a factor, 1 2 3 4, number, day, season, and transportation expense, it is going to be in some currency, therefore numeric, and so on and so forth. This is my declaration. This is taken from that data source where I collected this data. So this is my arrangement initially. This final variable is my quantity of interest or variable of interest. Having understood all these things, then we are ready to do whatever we want. In fact, this metadata is the first step in preparing our data analysis. Needless to say to you, but anyway, just want to remind that we need to have such an exercise. In fact, my metadata will have so many other columns also, which I have not done deliberately because what is the exercise now? Data visualization for my model building. For that, first I need to know what is my description of the data. That means descriptive models for which I need to take my visual. So that's what I have shown you in my PPT. Okay, one of the slides where that descriptive models have that storytelling with visual. For that matter, we need to know. Then comes the important aspect that what kind of plots are available for numeric, what kind of plots are available for factor, what kind of plots are available for count, and so on and so forth. That's a science. So for that matter, quickly, if we have this identifier, I don't use at all. It is just an identifier like pin code, mobile number, area code, blah blah blah. So it is nothing to do with our analysis. Okay, unless we are interested in specific arena or specific identifying group, we don't need to have much on that particular part. So leaving that, I have factor variables, so many things, and etc. Fundamentally, what we need to do storytelling. What is the meaning of that with respect to this example? Very simple. I would like to know the absenteeism pattern may be influenced by these many variables. Reasons for absence, which month, which day, season, and in what way they are spending their transportation. Are they coming too long or quite short distance? These two are, quite related, even though it is not naturally, because I may stay in very close to the office, but I come from a costly car, which is mileage is low. Then my transportation expense will be more, even though I'm coming close to the office, okay, or the working place. Therefore, generally it looks like there is a correlation or there is a direct relation. If I live long, I mean far from the office, then my transport expense may be low, but need not be in general. If I use metro, even though I travel 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers, but my cost will be less. Therefore, there will be a mixed way, in which case a particular employee may stay at far away, but using a good, less commuting effort, or vice versa, whatever may be the way. So these are all the implications. I can understand why these variables are considered by that organization. Service time and so on and so forth. See, sun is nothing but the what do you call it as how many children they have. It's a count. Then they drink or not. Then how many pets they have, height, weight, as well as BMI. So how these variables are connecting, we don't know. That's what the source of data. We have the data now. Therefore, it is we have to understand the variable or attributes, but we may not investigate too much about that source. Why do they want height and weight as well as body mass? Because we know, everybody knows that body mass index is calculated from height and weight. Therefore, this is something redundant. All these things are absolutely much more. I have made only a primitive way of talking about because of the time. Okay, so I have made a very smaller time limit, little time to take. Actually, this is the more and more time effort we need to sit with our client or sit with our research problem, etc. Make an elaborate discussion and have what kind of plot I'm going to do for these two different type of data. How much I'm connecting with my final variable called absenteeism at work or absenteeism time in us. So from this, I'm trying to pull that into the coding part straight away. So now I'm trying to load my data, and I assume that all of you familiar with Python code and a notebook kind like Jupyter here. So I take a quick review. That's what I told. Hardly we may take 5 minutes to run Matplotlib. I don't know. Okay, so I don't see normally to teach tools without having the background, especially tools like this. Because what are you going to talk about that? All right, all of them are self-explanatory. I need NumPy, Pandas. Actually, we need Pandas. Okay, this is something like my programming, regularity. I could say whether you use NumPy or not. There are certain library we usually call. Well, that's the way. In this session, I don't use anything. Anyway, to read the CSV, I need Pandas. Therefore, I take this. And second, third one, Matplotlib we take. So some standard way of calling that library later on. So all these things are Python essentials. Then I connect my drive wherein I have my data. So data is there. So quickly, let us take a data understanding. So all these things. So variable names are very much lengthier, as we observed already. And of course, this is the shape. We have seen already 740 rows and 21 columns. And these are all the names. And this started. This is data engineering or data cleaning, whatever the way. Essential I do. I don't do much on this, but essentially, because to make the variable much readable, I make all these things already. So these are all the coding essential. I think to do that with our own idea. So compared to earlier presentation, this is much better for me as well as for the system that we are trying to do this. Okay, so comes that important aspect. So you see the difference of what I have manually conceived and what Python has understood. So it takes integer, but actually it is identifier. So I don't use ID. Reason being number, it takes integer, but I have confined, and my problem says it is a factor, because It is based on some standard declaration. There are so many such variables in my asset. So, but only workload it takes as float. Rest of the thing it takes integer. But that's not the way I want to treat. Therefore, I change the attributes. What are the attributes I'm going to change? Here I make a list already. Therefore, coding starts with the essentiality of programming, the analysis. So now I'm very clear. So reason, month, weekday, etc. Everything I make it as categorical or object is enough. Categorical is better. I change it to object. Okay. So rest of the things it's integer. Integer and float don't make much difference. Even though a count variable and numeric variable we have a broader division. Analysis point of view, there is no much difference in this case. As well, I'm doing much more treatment for the data for the presentation point of view. When you give the storytelling, I don't want to give 1, 2, 3. Rather, I want to give Monday, Tuesday, or autumn, summer, winter. So that's what I'm doing. For education, we have categories that also I'm trying to implement here for the betterment. So one rather 1, 2, 3, I can give some example. Okay, so that in the graph you will have better storytelling effort. Otherwise, you'll have 1, 2, 3, and you have to put a legend box, or every time you have to make a relation to that. So I'm attacking programmatically. Either using legend you can do, or I am doing programmatically. So a combination of that thing I would like to suggest as an analysis plan. Then we have this kind of stuff also for a drinker. So let us quickly verify with only two part. Instead of 2, 1, 2, 3, I have high school and etc. So this will help my plot so much easily. Yes. So the last maybe 15 minutes or so, I just to browse through this course, nothing else. So what it does is now the system is able to understand what data I have and what is the minimum changes preparations I need to do. This is more important than just following it. Okay, that's a message I would like to share with you today, because this is a technical term scatter, this is a technical term histogram, and this is a bar and chart, and we have line plot, correct? So this code is a syntax, based on a syntax. Therefore, that is not our aim today. What Matplotlib will do is it also follows the typical roadmap of visualization science. It can't deviate. That's what I was telling you for about 20 minutes. Four tools are available to match that fundamental science, nothing else. The thing is, it is a very, of course, it's embedded in Python as a free tool. There are other tools also like Plotly and etc. So it has minimal capability, so that to start with, to do a POC, right, proof of concept, you can do it in Matplotlib. As I don't find, maybe I may not find time to say that some limitation. Production level, this is not so handy. For presentation level, for a client or a, if you do an app, web app or something, Matplotlib is not so handy. It may help you to do some concept, proof of concept, or largely for a static presentation in a HTML or in a PDF, something like that, in a static reporting. Okay, where Matplotlib is quite handy, but it also has all the required accessing point for the tool gallery. I told no. So scatterplot is used for comparing two numeric variables. So we have age and absenteeism, okay, because that's my final variable, quantity of interest. So that science tells me that even though I have plenty of variables, what variable I can connect these two, or I can connect these two. That comes in the context of the problem, but here I told the context of the problem is to know more about the absenteeism time. Therefore I'm connecting that. Therefore, if you have a question why I am connecting age and absenteeism, this is the reason for that. Okay, I can do age versus education, or age versus any other variable comes in the integer part. Okay, You have the freedom, but I'm not doing it because of that reason. So plt dot scatter, a typical Python syntax, data frame, and you call that variable in your uh, data set from the data set, and x y, that's the arrangement here. That means horizontal and there. So this is the base plot. Then following your enhancement, I can add a color, I can give the title, I can increase the plot size, that means look and feel, and go for different plot. So that I told you as a CAI, context, aesthetics and information. I don't take context here because time may not be as sufficient. It requires a lot of other things to discuss. So therefore, I don't give the code on that unless you know why do we do transformations. Why do I need a subset? Then only that context can be explained. So this I don't think the time will allow me to say that. Therefore, this aesthetics and information alone I focus, adding color. So see the code difference. That's all. So I have here only the variable, then I'm adding the color, then I have the title, the plot for the X label and Y label. So this XY is our good old school level graphing exercise. We have X axis, Y axis, horizontal axis, vertical axis. That's what I told. Whatever the tool at whatever the century it is designed, there are few terms which cannot be changed. For after all, human is going to do that. Human is going to use that end of the day. Okay, even machine can generate, but end of the day, who is going to use fundamentally as of now today, 21st century, July 7 to 2023, human utility is more compared to machine utility. After 20 years or after 10 years or after even 5 years, we don't know. Utility may also be by a machine comparatively larger in size. We don't know. Till that, yes. And why not? A human is teaching the machine, right? Intelligence is passed from a human. Therefore, obviously, these terms will not change. So X label, Y label, label for X axis, label for Y axis, and you'll have that. So combination of all those aesthetics, I have red color, I have title, I have X label, Y label, and etc. So font color and size coming in an aesthetic point of view or information point of view. We can increase this the default size of Matplotlib. Okay. So what we are going to do with this graph, again, I am not talking about that interpretation. So in what it says, that's what I told storytelling. Okay. Matplotlib will give a picture, give an image which can be copied, pasted, etc. Save all these things, no problem. Window or iOS, all are built in, all OS built in those kind of stuff. I don't have any magic in it. No surprise, right? 20, 25 years we are doing the same thing. And so we may have to have a better or larger size compared to that. Therefore, there is a declaration in the beginning of that. You can see this code I have not changed. Just I made one more point. Therefore, collectively, you should have a plan before you start doing, before you develop a software, before you write a code, how you plan your problem, how you go for requirement analysis to coding. Same way here also you need all those kind of strict exercises. Otherwise, it's I don't see any meaning in it. There is a small variety in the scatter plot using this level. Excuse me for a moment. Okay, sorry, and please bear with that. Anyway, it stopped. All these things again. The order of the day, work from home. Please bear with that. Anyway, that's been stopped. Now, histogram again for a single numeric variable. Why do we need a histogram, and what is the purpose of it? I leave it to the question sessions if at all you have. Otherwise, it's a tool. That's it. Okay. So I take a numeric variable here. The absenteeism as my area of interest, color, title, bold, and so on. So nothing new to you probably. Okay. So what this actually we learn from this, we are able to plot it. Machine will do fraction of second. But what we do is the question. the bar plot, you can easily understand the variable nature. That's why I spend a lot of time on that before we land into the code. What kind of variable I'm picking up for different type of plot. Histogram, deliberately I take this, but there is one more thing we will see later. But to observe that, I take a numeric variable. Bar plot, I take education grouping, right? This education is a grouped variable or a categorical variable object in Python language. Categorical is better. So I made it object in this coding effort. So what it says, how many in high school education background, what is the absenteeism first, and so on. There is a decline, natural decline, in fact. Otherwise, you can have it in descending order also. So I sort that already. And this is again from Python uh, code. Okay, so nothing to do with this specifically for Matplotlib. Nothing. I want to sort the value, therefore I use this code before I take. Therefore, that data is passed on here. Anyway, in this case, it is by same thing we could say high school postgraduate because it is naturally in this order. High school people are having more. I mean, people who have the high school education level, they tend to have more. Antisem in us. Therefore, it is naturally there, and therefore you may not see that difference. Rather, if I take ascending equal to true in that way, we may give it in that reverse order. So, changing the bar color and width. So, horizontal we require for presentation. So, the default color and default, and I'm able to change. And I told no for some time look and feel. You have seen so many things in your TV, magazine, or many web apps which talks about analytics report. Sometimes they print all of a sudden in a horizontal way. The reason is different. Why do they do is a different kind from an aesthetic point of view. This is one of the ways we do. So for that there is a provision available to you. Why? What is that? Just to change. Orientation is changed here. X is made as absenteeism in hours. That variable is changed. So here it is different, and here it is different. That's a logical change. It's a very simple common sense. So title, same way. Title, Y label, X label, and so on and so forth. We have font size also, color, nothing magic in it. Okay. So title we have um, the relevant height, color, etc. So I make one thing. I told no histogram is normally used for numeric variable, but in Matplotlib there is a provision to do. In fact, other graphical tools in Python also follow this roadmap. I don't know why, but it is different in R or in SAS or SPSS. But here, histogram option itself can be used for a single categorical variable. In fact. For example, first I will give what I mean by categorical variable. So you could see the larger number is in high school background of education, postgraduate, graduate, and master and doctor are very much minimal as far as this organization is concerned. Not a problem. So now we do the same thing with respect to the data. It looks like histogram, but actually it is a bar plot because I take only a education as a categorical variable. So this is one minor change. Usually in the previous case, if you take, I took two variables x and y for bar plot, but here I use simply histogram for only one variable to summarize a particular predictor, particular dependent variable, you could say, or any variable for that matter, other than quantity of interest. If it is a factor variable like this, many things we observe, right? So all these things can be made this way. This is a single categorical variable, and here it is one categorical variable with a numeric variable. So for that, you can make the necessary arrangements. Therefore, it can be. So histogram is used in that manner. Pie chart, that is again a tool for factor variable or categorical variable, and it gives some better way if whatever the customer's interest or your research interest, in what way you are going to present them all. So sometime we may be interested in plot the label values also, other than the classification. All these things are very straightforward. That's why I don't take too much on explaining a code. I think all of assuming that we have a matured audience and go through the code later on from anywhere. Of course, Matplotlib is running a beautiful website, so this is not end point to follow, right? You have many tools available today. That's what I told. If you ask ChatGPT, it is going to give the code. Therefore, learning a code is not a big deal. Though I don't encourage it, right? But a code is not a big deal. Therefore, the what we try to do and why we need to do is for our aim of best form of storytelling. Whether it enhances from the previous one, yes, I can do. Otherwise, there is no need. There is no rule at all. That's the freedom when we use a visualization tool. Of course, the whole analysis have a beautiful rules, beautiful freedom. We are very clear, concrete. Then the freedom is a very big advantage. You can write, you can present any manner where the audience is happy to receive, understand quickly. For nothing is mandatory here. That's what I say, basic plot and then enhancement. Then we can have many things around that particular part, right? Instead of printing, I can even working around like a overlapping stuff. So these kind of plots are visible in many presentations layer today. Magazine, I mean media, TV, printing media, TV, or where they have dynamic also. We don't go into that. I told already Matplotlib is static reporting. Mostly in up to HTML or PDF, the quality will be good because normally when we download the picture and make it as a GIF or PNG, or sometime we may lose the look and feel or the configuration issues. Okay, so you have to be careful on that. It's beyond my scope. So this kind of presentations with shared environment, this goes very well. That's the thing I observed in what way we are using Matplotlib. If you ask me, apart from the session we are doing today, utility point of view, that's what I told. I moved from SPSS. I don't use at all now. I don't use SAS. I don't use anything. Likewise, personal point of view, it may differ even for you. For the tool Matplotlib, if you ask me, am I using it today? No, for my daily use. We move to something else because that's a requirement. But this is a basic. This is a nice tool to easily understand. Quickly, we can connect with our requirement and the output to know how we are getting. Then goes visual enhancement with the tool. That's a different game, ball game. Okay. Therefore, we can't deny at the same time, if you ask me, that's I feel that's my responsibility. If you ask me whether it is sufficient for today's scale, I don't say it is sufficient. Okay, you have to go beyond that, but roadmap is absolutely this code. If you take the roadmap, not the code, roadmap, that's enough. Then you can move on further on different data types with suppose you are doing with the simulation analysis, what kind of plot I need to do, trace plot or anything, whether Matplotlib has it, contour plot, etc. So that advanced level of plotting is also applicable in, available in gallery of Matplotlib with the same kind of syntax background. But do you need necessarily, because box plot can be given in a different variety. There are many cousins of that kind of plot, but what I'm going to use, what I need, that you have to be careful, otherwise it's not a useful exercise altogether. And yeah, I started the line. This is the box plot, another variety for numeric variable. This is the variety of cousins I told. Now, this is the base. I didn't add the color, I didn't change the name, font size, etc. That you know how to do. So why do we need a box plot? question remains the same. What type of variable, numeric variable I am adding? Why do I need? I didn't answer. But probably you may know. Please focus that also I feel my responsibility, okay, to convey. I don't say that you don't know, but from my point of view, I want to add that always. What I try to say as a cousin, see this one box plot, same story is implied here. Some visual enhancement in the default design. They themselves thought, okay, why not we do some kind of eye catching. I don't know why it is, but they have made many varieties of box plot, violin plot, and so many. Okay, type of bubble plot. Then we have something called B views, something. Okay, to plot more points, increase the dimensions, and so on and so forth. Therefore, all these things emerge from requirement. As I told you, the managerial problem, identification of your problem. Unless you have a clarity on that, unless you have the analysis plan, well drafted analysis plan, getting into the tool of such visualization necessity may not be sufficient, may not be, in fact, sometimes easy because it will trouble you. Have so much of variable, at least 20 variables to handle. There are minimum 2 variable at a time. If you take 20 C2, that means 20 into 19 divided by 1 into 2. That means 190 combination of visualization with 2 variables we can do, which is manually, it is, as I could say, meaningless. Even if you apply to an automated version of machine, getting 190 to 200 output and make a system to learn from it is very, very complicated, very, very unnecessary. Your storytelling will not be done so that nobody will encourage or appreciate your hard effort put on coding, etc. Therefore, tool for visualization like Matplotlib will require that preparation mandatorily. Whether you are automating your process, you are generating your output, whatever may be, making the data process very, very stringent will make your data analysis for any objective from the researcher point of view to the production level requirement, understanding and preparation. Of course, you may have heard about that word, that phrase. 80% of the data science job goes to the data cleaning and data engineering. Today also that's important. Okay? The quantity may be different, but we still do that kind of activity. That's where we focus. So anyway, I am done. So anyway, I'll stretch for about 5 to 6 minutes, owing to the initial delay, as well as if you have any questions. Otherwise, a big thanks to the organizers and big thanks to the audience for your patient listening. Thank you. Yes, I am done.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful session, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any questions you have? Right.
Participants?
Thank you, sir. I request all the participants to switch on your video for a photo session.
Are we done?
Can we go with the session, sir, if participants have any questions? Participants, if you have any questions, you can just ask, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Absolutely.
It was a nice presentation, sir. I'm Professor Ramesh from Bangalore.
Yes, sir.
Sir, how best we can extend to biomedical applications, sir? Biomedical applications. Suppose if I want to work on gene patterns, how it helps a lot.
Absolutely. See, I have made the session application independent. Okay, I don't mention financial data or anything. So
Yeah.
for structural data, I haven't have that biomedical or biological data where it has so many variables. First of all, so the quantity is quite huge. Usually the variables are larger, and there would be a lot of missing information mandatorily. These are all few characteristics of biological data, array-based data. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I understood from my exposure to biological data.
Yeah. But
If
you are
you
right,
ask
sir.
me whether, yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, what you said is right.
Yes. So, with that sparsity in its classification, with its limitation, its ingredient, its nature, in fact, Matplotlib we can do. Let me emphasize once again that what's your objective? What kind of report you would like to do? Are you relating your two numeric variables or only one variable or connecting minimum 3 to 5 dimension? That will decide. Therefore, to your question, sir, I don't see any special or specific need for Matplotlib to biological data. I don't see.
Okay.
Matplotlib will also handle those data, absolutely. But if you are trying to push it to a production level, then you will have some trouble in Matplotlib.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes, sir. I think there is no questions. I'll move with the vote of thanks. Today marks the 5th day of our FDP on the topic of Matplotlib for research. As we near to the conclusion of this insightful 5th day, it's my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of the Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our head of the department, Mrs. T. Kalaiselvi ma'am, and all our department staffs who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the smooth execution of this program. Their dedication and hard work have been indispensable in creating a conducive learning environment for all the participants. A heartfelt thanks goes to our esteemed Dr. M. Subaya sir for his exceptional expertise and engaging sessions on Matplotlib for research. Your in-depth knowledge and passion for the subject have truly enriched our understanding and provided us with valuable insights, sir. Next, I would like to express our gratitude to all the participants who have actively taken part in this FDP. Your enthusiasm, active participation, and throughout the provoking discussions contributed immensely to the success of session 5. Your presence here is a testament to your commitment to continuous learning and professional development. As we come to end of the today, we would like to emphasize the significance of knowledge gained here. Matplotlib for research has provided us with a powerful tool to visualize and communicate our data efficiently. We hope that skills acquired here will benefit our research and endeavor and contribute to advancement of respective fields. Last but not the least, we are also grateful to the management of Easwari Engineering College for their constant support and provision of necessary resources, allowing us to organize this FDP seamlessly. Thank you all once again. Let us carry forward the knowledge gained here and continue to explore new frontiers in research armed with the power of Matplotlib. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. And I request all the participants to fill the platform that has been posted in the chat box.
Thank you once again, all of you. Bye.